All right, so these are my minor league cards. Point of making this video is for my son. I want you to look at this one day when you get a chance and just kind of see like why I've collected these, why I like them. If you want to keep them for yourself, great. If you want to sell them, that's fine too. Just wanted to show you my little hobby and go from there. So I'm gonna go through all these cards and talk about them. So this is all PSA graded minor league cards. That's kind of my personal collection right now. So the first one is Gary Carter. So Gary Carter played for the Expos, of course, and for the Mets. He was a catcher for the Mets. Super nice guy, from my understanding. Sounds like he was a really just overall nice person. This is 1975. TCMA is the name of the brand that makes the cards, and this is a PSA graded 9. Next is Scott Boras. So Scott Boras may know as one of the big time baseball agents responsible for driving a lot of the salaries up over the past several years. So didn't pan out as a baseball player for a career, but definitely made a good career as an agent. So this card is from 1977 when he was with the St. Petersburg Cardinals and is a PSA 8. Next one is Wade Boggs. Wade Boggs is, of course, Hall of Famer for the Red Sox. Also played for the Yankees. This is when he was with Pawtucket. This is actually one of the more common minor league cards of in the earlier 80s that I've seen. This is graded a PSA 8. So Don Mattingly, Donnie Ballgame is a nickname that he's gone by. So this is 1981 when he was with the Nashville Sounds. He played for the Yankees for his whole career. Awesome first baseman, great person overall, sounds like. And this one is graded PSA 8. This is got a lot of color for an 81. Didn't expect to have this much color, but looks pretty good. Not sure if it shows up on camera or not, but. Next one is Paul O'Neill, another Yankee. Played for the Reds for half his career, I think, and the other half for the Yankees as their right fielder. This one is graded PSA 9. Just an overall nice guy, solid teammate, sounds like, and he's today a broadcaster analyst for the Yankees, I think. Next one, Jose Canseco. This is the pre-steroid years for him, looks like. 1983 Frisch. So the Frisch company also, they have a popular card shop up in Wisconsin, I think. So it sounds like they also at some point had their own line of minor league cards, which is kind of cool. And this team set is for the Madison Huskies, and Jose Canseco, graded mint PSA 9. Doc Gooden, also with the Mets for several years. This one is graded PSA 8, black and white, for the Lynchburg Mets. I think this is probably a AA team, I think. So he became up in 84, so right before he came up. My goal for all these minor league cards is to try to get the earliest card possible that I can for all these players, as well as the highest grade. My goal is to get at least in PSA 8 or above for all these. For some of them, it's not possible for right now just because of availability, or I can't afford some of these, and I just don't want to spend that kind of money. But most of these, I believe, should be PSA 8 or above. Doc's teammate on the Mets for several years, of course, is Darryl Strawberry. Power hitter for the Mets, also played for the Yankees and a few other teams. Had a lot of problems with the law and alcohol and substance abuse during his career. Made a huge turnaround, though. So after his career and today, he found Jesus, and he's got his own ministry and goes around preaching the gospel. So it's good to see him turn his life around. So happy for Darryl Strawberry. This is, I believe, the AAA team, Tidewater Tides, PSA 8. Next up is Roger Clemens, another player that got wrapped up in the steroid controversy in the 90s or early 2000s, I think. This is from 84 TCMA, when I believe he was with the AAA team. I think it's AAA, Pawtucket Red Sox, PSA 7. So again, I couldn't get them all 8s. If you look at the centering, you'll see that this one is kind of off center. This card in particular had centering issues from what I've seen. Even the ones graded higher than this, you can still see some centering issues, but overall still a good card. Great player from the 80s and 90s, so that's that one. This one actually just came in yesterday for the Utica Blue Sox. Larry Walker is a Hall of Famer. Played for Diamondbacks, I believe, and Astros. I could be wrong. This is a PSA 8. And this is a recent add to the collection. Next up is Bo Jackson. Probably one of the best athletes overall, just in sports in general over the past several years. Of course, played baseball and football. This is the Memphis Chicks 1986 silver. There's also a gold border as well. The silver border was limited to 5,000 copies printed, and the gold was limited to 10,000 copies. So this is the rare of the two, PSA 6. I haven't seen anything really above a 6 online or anywhere else. I'm sure they're out there. I just haven't seen any, but this is a card that I picked up off of Facebook. I was actually kind of nervous about buying cards off Facebook, but it seems like for the most part, most of the sellers are pretty reputable. The guy that sold me this was as well, obviously, so happy with the purchase. This one is 1986 Pro Cards, Rafael Palmeiro, another guy that got wrapped up in the steroids controversy with the Pittsfield Cubs. This is the first year that Pro Cards started making minor league cards. It was popular for several years. And I also have Greg Maddux as well, his teammate for the same team, same year. That card is actually shipped off to PSA right now, hoping that comes back with an 8 or above. But I wanted to show the Rafael Palmeiro card as well. He's a great hitter for several years. Next up, also 86 Pro Cards, John Smoltz, right? So he started off with the Tigers, was traded early in his career to the Braves, and of course was one of the main aces of the Braves staff in the 90s when they won all their championships. And today he actually is a broadcaster, analyst, covering baseball, and actually a pretty good one too. So interesting to see him make that move from the baseball field to the broadcasting booth, but really one of the great analysts. So super excited to watch his games, both when he's playing and when he's calling them as well. Next up is Juan Gonzalez, 87 Pro Cards. So Gastonia Rangers, I believe it's either single A or double A team for the Rangers back in the 80s. This one is graded PSA 8, great power hitter as well in the 90s. So cool card there. This guy needs no introduction, Ken Griffey Jr., one of the best players overall in the game. I try to get where I can with all these cards, the team set, the team issued version of the card where possible. Some of these only had the main full Pro Cards team sets or overall set, whatever it is, but this is a good card, graded PSA 8. Clearly you can see it's off center, right to left a little bit there. The color looks great. It's hard to see the actual card itself, any details because of the slab, but popular player. This is his earliest card as well, so try to get the earliest card available for all these players. So that's Ken Griffey Jr. Next up is Randy Johnson, 87 Pro Cards. Again, this is one where he actually has an earlier card than this in 86, where I believe he played for West Palm Beach. So I didn't know that at the time, so I may go back at some point, maybe get the earlier one. But this is 87 Pro Cards, Randy Johnson, PSA 9 when he played with Jacksonville. Today, he actually has a career after baseball as a photographer, which is kind of interesting. So I've seen his pictures. They look pretty good. So looks like he's a strong pitcher as well as a good photographer too. Next up is Frank Thomas. So this card's interesting in that when I got it online at eBay, it says 87, and I figured it was an 87 card. But when you look at the back, if you can tell, it actually says 1990 pretty clearly at the bottom. I didn't see that when I bought it, but PSA just isn't really familiar with details in some cases of minor league cards as far as dating them apparently, or counterfeits. There are some counterfeits out there with Mark McGwire's cards in particular. But this is a clear mistake. I actually reached out to PSA and let them know this is clearly mislabeled as 87 when it shows 90. For the red border, there was a blue border version of this as well. That actually is a true 1987 card. Blue border, where Frank Thomas USA team also played with Jim Abbott the one-handed pitcher from the Angels and Yankees, as well as Tino Martinez, the first baseman for the Yankees as well. I have both of those cards. Both of them are currently off to PSA graded as well. But this is a great hitter, so I wanted to include him in the collection. So next up is Curt Schilling, great pitcher for Boston. This is graded as a PSA 9 or a PSA 10. I had the 9, and when I was able to find the 10 online for a good price, I grabbed that one. And what I normally do is, if I'm able to find an earlier version or a higher grade of a card for a good price, I'll buy it and then I'll sell the other one. So I have a PSA 9 actually on eBay now, but this is a great card too, and a great pitcher. So Curt Schilling's pretty good. Next up, Bernie Williams, 1987 Pro Cards with Fort Lauderdale. He's actually got an earlier version, also in 87, I believe, where he played with the low A. I want to say it's called Oneta Yankees. And I believe Fort Lauderdale would be the high A or double A team, but still a great card. PSA 9, Bernie Williams, of course, a staple with the Yankees teams when they won all their World Series and championships, playing center field. So cool to pick up Bernie. He's also a great guitar player as well, outside of baseball, it sounds like, so pretty cool. Next one is Craig Biggio. So Craig Biggio was with the Astros for several years. Started off as a catcher and then made the move to second base. I believe he's in the Hall of Fame now. This one is when he's with the Tucson Toros, graded PSA 9. Another one from 89. This is Carlos Delgado with the St. Catharines Blue Jays. Played with the Blue Jays, of course, and other teams. I can't remember off the top of my head which other teams he played for, but great hitter in the 90s, so I wanted to include him as well. This is, again, 89 Pro Cards, and it's graded PSA 9. Mike Piazza, another interesting one here. So this is a team issue card. Again, try to go for the team issues whenever I can, but interesting thing about him is he actually his godfather was Tommy Lasorda, manager for the Dodgers for several years. And Mike Piazza's father called in a favor to Tommy, asking him to draft him. So he was drafted in like the last round. I want to say it's the 62nd round of the draft in 89 or 88 as a favor. And of course, ended up being one of the great catchers in the 90s and going into 2000s. So that actually worked out well for the Dodgers. This is a cool card. It's pretty good players as well, obviously. So Mike Piazza with the Salem Dodgers as a PSA 8. Next one is Ivan Rodriguez, 89 Star is the name of the brand. Also with Gastonia Rangers, same as the one we saw with Juan Gonzalez. This guy had a cannon for an arm, so he would throw up people at second base easily. One of the great stats that I saw on him is that batters just didn't even attempt to run after a while in his games for the most part. So that's pretty telling when they don't even try to steal, knowing that they're going to get thrown out. So great catcher, PSA 9. You'll notice these are all going in order in terms of year for the most part. I actually did miss one, so I want to go back and show one from 88. So this is Jeff Bagwell. Ballpark Cape Cod is the name of the brand, and he's with the Chatham A's. So this card is a little bit wider, as you can see, bigger slab that PSA put it in. It's a PSA 9, so great hitter at first base as well, I believe. He played later in his career, but I wanted to show that too. So, right. Next up is Deion Sanders, best known as the head coach now for Colorado, but also another great athlete. Played baseball and football, of course, is in the Hall of Fame for football. I believe at cornerback. This is a PSA 9 when he was with the Albany Yankees. So Deion Sanders. Next up, Chipper Jones. It's a 1990 classic, #1 draft pick overall for the Braves in 1990. So I wanted to include this. Also, it's great watching him play third base for several years during those great teams with the Braves had in the mid-90s. So got this one at a PSA 10. This one's cards are stuck together. Is Jason Giambi. So Jason Giambi, I believe this might even be a college card. I believe I need to double check. With the Alaska Gold Panners team set issue. 1990, and this is a PSA 10. Also in 1990, the headhunter, Pedro Martinez. So great pitcher. Did have a reputation for throwing at batters. Wasn't afraid to do it. But a great pitcher overall. This is his first issue card in a PSA 10 grade when he was with the Great Falls Dodgers. Another great pitcher is Mike Mussina. Played a long time for the Orioles, also for the Yankees. This is 1990 when he's with the Rochester Red Wings. So this is the Orioles farm system back in the day, and I believe today, or I know today, the Washington Nationals, my favorite team, their AAA team is the Rochester Red Wings. So minor league teams change, the teams change teams, if that makes sense, every few years. Sometimes you'll have some that stay the same, but this is one that changed. But Mike Mussina is a great pitcher as well. Cool to have this one in a PSA 8 grade. And speaking of great, Mariano Rivera, best closer in baseball as far as I'm concerned. Awesome pitcher. Batters knew what was coming, and they still couldn't hit it. And this guy broke so many bats over the years with that cutter that cut in on lefties a lot, and again, so many broken bats. But the only player that was unanimously voted to the Hall of Fame, in my opinion. There should have been a few others before him, but he definitely deserved it as well. So this is his first pro card, 1990 Diamond Cards with the Tampa Yankees at a PSA 9. All right, Jim Thome, 1990 Pro Cards, listed as A and AA. I'm not sure how that works. With the Burlington Indians, this is one of those cards where it's part of a broader full set as opposed to a team set. I believe there's a team set version of Pro Cards that he has as well. I may get it at some point if it's at a good price, but still, this is a great card. Played great at third and first base, I believe, over his career. So this one is a PSA 9. Michael Jordan. So again, not really a true minor league card, I guess. Well, maybe it is. I don't know. But this is part of the baseball team set for 1991 with Upper Deck. Was one of the short prints in that set. It was a very popular card at the time. In my opinion, I don't think Jordan should have played minor league baseball. I think there was one analyst that talked about it and made a good point to where they said that he essentially took a roster spot for a legitimate kid that could have played minor league. And they brought him over because of the name, right? Chicago, Michael Jordan. But yeah, he didn't last long in the minor leagues before he, of course, returned to basketball. Great player, though, in basketball. Jorge Posada, another great catcher. This is that team I mentioned, the Oneta Yankees, that Bernie Williams had an earlier card in, I believe. This is, I believe, the single A team again. Clearly off center. If you see the top here, it's almost slanted down to the left here a little bit. So not a great cut on that. Came out as a PSA 8 overall. But Posada was a great catcher as well. Never used batting gloves, I think, if I recall. Even all his career, he never used batting gloves for whatever reason. So interesting little tidbit there. Manny Ramirez. So Manny Ramirez is a high school card, I guess, with Little Sun. 1991 is when he was drafted as one of the high school prospects. Played several years with the Indians. Really eclectic, interesting, kind of weird guy at times from what I've heard. Just overall, a great hitter still. But I wanted to share this one. Manny Ramirez, super young at probably 17, 18 years old here as a PSA 9. Another, looks like high school card, or this company went over high school prospects, I guess. Same year, 1992. Is that? Yeah, different year, 1992. Little Sun. This is actually one of the more rare versions of Derek Jeter's minor league cards. He played with Kalamazoo high school team, and this is graded as a PSA 9. Jeter's teammate for several years, Andy Pettitte. Played for the Yankees, of course. Played for the Astros for a few years. Great left-handed pitcher. Had an awesome pickoff move. If you ever go on YouTube and watch some of his pickoffs, like runners didn't stand a chance. A lot of times, he had a great move. This is a cool card. One of his first cards. I believe there is a team set version of this by Classic as well. I need to confirm that. But this is a good one, graded PSA 10. Alex Rodriguez, another Yankee. Played for the Mariners, Rangers, and Yankees, of course. This is, see on his jersey there, Westminster, that's his high school team. So this may be one of those high school cards as well, I think. 94 Classic. I also have a card of his where he's with the Appleton Foxes, which is the minor league team. That card is also off with PSA right now, so that'll be coming back in several months as far as PSA timeframes go. But I'm curious to see how that comes. And in the meantime, this is a cool one too, by Classic at a PSA 9. All right, getting into 2000s here. So Albert Pujols going to be in Hall of Fame, of course, over 700 home runs. This is an interesting card because you notice the blue background. There's two versions of this card you may find online. One has a blue background and one has a white background. The blue background is the actual local team card, while the white background has top prospects at the bottom, and it's the top prospects card. So the blue background is the more rare of the two, if you're interested in that. But this came out as a PSA 8. This actually, I bought this as a BGS 9 or 9.5, and it got moved over to PSA, and it, of course, got knocked down to an 8. But is what it is. Still a cool card. Albert Pujols, another one of those guys where it's just like an overall nice guy. So glad to have this card, and glad to see him go in the Hall of Fame in a few years. Another future Hall of Famer, same year, 2000, multi-ad is Miguel Cabrera. Also with the Utica Blue Sox, same as that Larry Walker card. Triple Crown winner, definite first ballot Hall of Famer. So, and also a fan favorite. Fans really like him a lot. So just an overall cool guy, it sounds like. So here's the multi-ad brand of his first card, as well as the Royal Rookies brand. Same year, Miguel Cabrera Futures card, graded PSA 10 as well. This is another interesting one. This is another recent pickup. Yadi Molina, again, one of the best catchers in the modern era as well, with the Johnson City Cardinals. So this is actually one of the team set cards where production was limited to 1,000, and it's a very low population for PSA 10s or high grades in general. Because of the black border, it's very easy for those to be chipped and get knocked down in grades. So at a PSA 10, this one should be pretty valuable over the years at some point, if my son decides to sell these. But great catcher. There's also a very similar version of this card where it's a top prospects card that I mentioned. Not as rare as the local team sets like this one, but cool card, especially in a high grade. So I was glad to pick this one up. Right, getting into 2007, Freddie Freeman, another super nice guy. Sounds like this is when he just came up with the Braves, just got drafted by the Braves. First baseman for the Dodgers today, but this one is a 2007 Bowman card, PSA 10. Bryce Harper, another future Hall of Famer. This is actually his junior college, JUCO is what it stands for, card when he played with Nevada, College of South Nevada, it looks like. He must be like 17, 18 years old, if that, in this card here. 2010, PSA 10 as well. So super early card of Bryce Harper, and will definitely be in the Hall of Fame once he retires. Another future Hall of Famer, 2010, Manny Machado. This is when he was with the Aberdeen Ironbirds in Maryland. Played for the Orioles when he first came up. Plays for the Padres today. Again, super early card. This is his first pro card as a PSA 10. I'm a huge Nats fan, so it's cool to pick up this one. Steven Strasburg, played for the Nats, of course. 2010 grandstand with the AA Harrisburg Senators. I don't think he was with AA or in the minor leagues in general very long. If you recall his first major league debut, he struck out 14 batters, which is pretty amazing. So if you get a chance, go on YouTube and watch that first game of his. It was pretty good. But glad to pick this one up as a PSA 10. My goal for these later cards is to have only 10s because they're relatively new. But again, it depends on the card and how it's built or how it's designed. The darker edges makes it easier to chip, and more likely to get lower grades, but so far I try to get as many 10s as I can. This is a 2011, again, Bryce Harper with Topps Heritage. So this card is made higher production, of course, because Topps mass produces so many things, but still a great minor league card. Bryce Harper with the AA Harrisburg Senators and in a PSA 10. Francisco Lindor with the Mets. So I believe he came up with the Indians, I believe. Plays with the Mets today. 2012 Topps Heritage minor league card in a PSA 10. Aaron Judge, one of the great home run hitters of the game today. His earliest card, I believe, 2014 Grandstand when he was with the Charleston River Dogs as a PSA 10. This is a local team set, I believe, and excited to get this one, as well as his more popular and more frequently, you'll see these more online, Topps Heritage minor league version when he's still with the Charleston River Dogs, also in a PSA 10. Trey Turner, this is another recent pickup when he's with the San Antonio Missions in a PSA 9. So he plays with Dodgers today at second base. Also former Nats guy, so excited to have him with the Nats when he was there with our World Series in 2019. But this is another recent pickup and a cool card of Trey Turner. I believe it's his first card. He might have a like 2012 when he was in high school USA card, but it's unlicensed. But this is just an overall one of his first cards, I believe. Next up, we're almost done. Bo Bichette. So Bo Bichette with the Toronto Blue Jays today. This is when he was with the Lansing Lugnuts in 2017. His dad is Dante Bichette, if you remember that name from the 80s and 90s. Dante Bichette actually was good friends, fun fact, with Joe Girardi, who's also the catcher and manager for the Yankees later on. I have both of those cards, or Joe Girardi's pro cards, I believe it's 87 pro cards, is off with PSA. But not sure how I got sidetracked, sorry about that. But this is Bo Bichette, 2017 Lansing Lugnuts in a PSA 10. And this is the exact same team as his teammate, also son of a former major leaguer, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Vladimir Guerrero Sr., of course, had a cannon for an arm, played several years with Montreal, and this is his son, of course, and with the Lansing Lugnuts, teammate of Bo Bichette in 2017, and this is also a PSA 10. Again, I'm a big Nats fan, so I had to include Juan Soto here. 2017 Topps Heritage. I also have several of his minor league cards with local team sets. They are not graded yet. They're a couple are still in the actual package that it came in, so I need to crack that open one day when I get a chance, set it off the PSA. But in the meantime, this is his Topps Heritage card with the Hagerstown Suns in 2017 as a PSA 10. Pete Alonso, great star for the Mets. Power hitter. I think his first year he may have set the rookie record for home runs, I believe. Also 2017 Topps Heritage minor league card of Pete Alonso in a PSA 10 when he was with the St. Lucie Mets, which I believe is their single A or high A, the high A team. One of the most fun players to watch today, Ellie De La Cruz. Cannon for an arm, super fast, running the bases. So I want to get his early card as well. This is his 2022 pro debut. He might have an earlier version of Topps debut or some other card, but this is one of his earliest, at least, with the Dayton Dragons, also in a PSA 10. Right, two more. James Wood, again, Nats here, right? So this is, of course, when he was with the Padres, came over in the Juan Soto trade. I think we won that trade, if I'm honest. We got James Wood, a superstar. He's going to hit 40 home runs this year in 2025. He's going to hit probably 40 plus for several years in his career. So I think him and Aaron Judge are going to be the premier home run hitters over the next few years. But this is his 2022, one of his first cards, I believe, as well. Topps pro debut. I also have a few of his minor league cards with the team sets when he's with the Nats and their minor league teams. Also ungraded at the moment, but I'll send those off to PSA at some point. This is his Topps Chrome version of the Pro Debut set. Last but not least, Paul Skeens. So Paul Skeens, of course, is the power pitcher for the Pirates today. #1 overall pick, I believe, in 2023. I watched this guy pitch in LSU, when he was at LSU his last year, and he was major league ready then. Like, he was this overpowering pitcher, of course, as he is today. He's another one, didn't spend long in the minor leagues, maybe 10 games, if I'm not mistaken, something like that. But great, one of the first cards of Paul Skeens when he's with the Altoona Curve. Topps Chrome, Pro Debut. So this is it. So I just wanted to make this video for my son to kind of show him why I like these cards and what I think about them. So, all right, hope you like it. Thanks.